Have you felt your chest tighten in rooms where your intentions are read like crimes? Where a date swings from charm to audit? Where any sign of strength is filed as threat and any tenderness as weakness? Where the night turns judgmental and the morning turns mute, and wondered whether manhood is now a posture on trial? Friedrich Nietzsche throws a barbed match into that courtroom. Woman, God's second mistake. Take the shock, hold the line against literal hatred, and hear the sentence as a provocation aimed at a civilization that confuses softness with goodness and punishment with care. He is not licensing contempt for women. He is exposing our reflex to sanctify weakness, to hide envy under moral speech, and to outsource authorship to fashion. What follows is a single thread in 6 movements, pressing men towards strength without bitterness, and towards standards that can meet the feminine without collapse or conquest. Nietzsche's jab is not a manual for contempt. It is a test of the reader. He wrote like a hammer, shocking, meant to crack plaster so beams show. In the 19th century salon, he aimed at sentimental pieties and stale habits that called passivity virtue and obedience holiness, while envying every spark of force. The line wounds by touching taboo and exposing reflex. Do you lunge for hatred or for interpretation? Do you hide behind outrage or allow yourself to be summoned to authorship? Treat the sentence as allegory. He is attacking a cultural fetish of the feminine, idealized softness mistaken for morality, the worship of harmlessness, just as he also attacked a counterfeit masculine, bravado and priestly power in armor. His true target is whatever domesticates life into compliance, guilt polices excellence, or turns eros into etiquette. If you pretend he offered biology, you dodge his demand. The demand is authorship. Will you create standards that honor women as subjects and keep your own strength from curdling into cruelty? Reading Nietzsche well requires 2 refusals. Refuse literalism. Aphorisms are explosives, not statutes. They blast open rooms so air can enter. Refuse resentment. Moralized envy is the trick of calling your fatigue justice so you can punish vigor for existing. The weak way to agree is to use the sentence as license to condescend. The weak way to disagree is to perform outrage and then return to borrowed rules. The strong way is to take the blow on the chin and ask which part of you prefers a world where no one can admire, rank, dare, or offend, because risk threatens your place in the group. Now aim the mirror at yourself. Where do you flatter weakness and name it kindness? Where do you excuse smallness as humility? Where do you blame women for chaos that is really your lack of form? Nietzsche's provocation is not an excuse to sneer. It is a summons to shape. If femininity has been reduced to a moral of softness in your mind, enlarge your mind. If masculinity has been reduced to noise, quiet it until substance can be heard. The point is not to win a gender war. The point is to become a man whose standard refuses both contempt and compliance, who can meet the feminine without collapse or conquest. Nietzsche's fiercest foe is not women. It is the moral psychology that trains men to fear rank, admire sameness, and baptize timidity as kindness. Herd morality prefers comfort to greatness, and then calls greatness cruel, so comfort can feel holy. On bad days, a man recruits that morality to rationalize his disappointments. He rehearses a script in which feminine influence becomes the reason he is stalled, the reason decisiveness is punished in dating, the reason manners outrank merit at work. There is a grain of truth about fashion and its incentives, yet the script can mutate into excuse. Blame is cheaper than building. Resentment is the engine. It turns private envy into public justice and spends that counterfeit on condemnation. You can hear it by its tone. Quick humiliation of anyone vivid. fast pity that keeps people small, a suspicion of excellence that sounds like ethics. A man caught there begins to think of himself as moral because he never disturbs a mood. He calls avoidance empathy and secrecy humility. He becomes a curator of grievance who feels superior to those who risk. Such morality cannot produce a life. It can only police one. The antidote is selection backed by work. Create values robust enough to welcome the feminine without flattery and to resist manipulation without bitterness. Rank goods aloud and live them. Truth before tribe, competence before charm, courage before compliance, loyalty before novelty. This is not a manifesto to post. It is a table to build on and a calendar to guard. When a man's days carry his rankings, he stops needing a villain to energize him. He can admire women who carry weight without asking them to mother his will. He can reject games that punish standards without turning rejection into theater. Do not expect applause. You will be called harsh for refusing synchronized outrage, disloyal for refusing gossip, unsafe for naming standards. Hold your face steady and keep making the good heavy. Nietzsche's style often sounds like war, but the work is carpentry. Clean joins between conviction and action so your life bears load. When the herd surges, do not shout. Keep the frame from moving. That begins in the room you govern. Body, speech, money, promises, so that outside weather loses leverage. Nietzsche distrusted sentimental pity because it can become a strategy for avoiding reality while feeling righteous. He saw a culture soothing itself into weakness and calling that soothing good. Men raised inside this weather learn to read every boundary as aggression and every cost as harm. They fear making demands, adopt apology as a dialect, and treat mood as law. Then they resent the very women they beg to be weather, because weather changes. The solution is not cruelty. The solution is a return to form. Sentimentality confuses the ache of life with an indictment of strength. It treats limits as insults and standards as violence. Real care requires edges. A man who cannot say no cannot protect yes. A partner cannot relax near a man whose rules melt with tears. Children cannot learn from a father who is kind in public and chaotic in private. Teams cannot trust a leader whose empathy never hardens into decision. Read the Barb about God's second mistake as an attack on the cultural habit of moralizing softness, not on women themselves. The same Barb cuts men who hide behind polished helplessness. Nietzsche wants you to stop renting virtue from pity and start paying for goodness with action. Speak plainly without theater. Protect without ownership. Provide without pride. Refuse without scorn. These are not slogans. They are forms that keep love from rotting into management. The feminine is not weakness, and the masculine is not permission to bruise. The feminine includes depth, intuition, receptivity, nurture. When those powers rule a man from the basement, he drowns. When they are integrated, he becomes more human, able to listen without begging, to feel without surrendering judgment, to cherish without self-erase. Nietzsche's diagnosis aims at capture, not at gender. If pity has become a leash, slip it. If you have used pity to dodge courage, cut it. Then offer care that costs, edges that hold, and warmth that does not bribe. The room will feel different. Respect returns where sentimentality used to eat it. When Nietzsche calls for a revaluation of all values, he is demanding that men stop inheriting a moral ledger they never audited. The old sky of unquestioned authority has dimmed in public life. What remains is the obligation to decide what is good and then carry the cost. Begin where you can measure. Rank what governs your days. Sleep outranks scrolling. Training outranks talk. Craft outranks clout. Steadfastness outranks novelty. Love as covenant outranks romance as entertainment. If the rankings are real, your calendar will tell on you. Giving style to character is art and discipline. Choose a posture for anger before anger chooses you. Set a law for speech under humiliation before the crowd tempts you to theatrics. Write a rule for money that outlives appetite. Design a ritual of solitude that keeps you from becoming a public echo. These are edges, not decorations. Style without a body is mannerism. Body without style is noise. Together, they become a shape that can carry weight. Revaluation is not vandalism. Keep what is genuinely high in your inheritance. Honor restraint where it protects the weak. Honor tenderness where it makes room for joy. Remove only what prevents growth. Shame that forbids excellence. Dogmas that replace thinking. Pieties that reward performance over reality. Expect sparks when you pull those nails. Expect people who preferred your softness to call you proud. Answer with steadier help, fewer speeches, and a consistency that survives misunderstanding. A man who gives style to his character becomes legible. People know where he stands even when they dislike the stand. Women he loves can choose him with clear eyes. Men he leads can measure him by outcomes. Enemies can plan against him and still respect the edge. This is not branding, it is geometry. With a shape, you can receive the feminine without fear, refuse manipulation without cruelty, and absorb weather without dissolving. The risk is small loneliness. The reward is a life that rhymes with its own law. Nietzsche's harshest lines about women reveal his allergy to idol and to cage. Idolatry melts men into worshippers who demand utopia from a lover and punish her for being human. Caging hardens men into owners who mistake control for love. Both are cowardice. Eros is not safe and not sovereign. It is a power that asks for form. A man who creates values must bring form to love or watch love turn into management or melodrama. Begin with selection. Choose what you can sustain. Do not moralize fear of choosing. Do not outsource standards to trends. Speak desire cleanly. Set pace that respects time rather than mood. Protect the other's dignity when you end. Never purchase intimacy with self-erasure. And never purchase control with contempt. Respect is not sentiment. It is a law that governs how power moves between two persons. It makes room for difference without turning difference into accusation. The feminine is depth, intuition, receptivity, nurture, ferocity in defense of what matters. The masculine is initiation, boundary, provision, structure, courage in the face of risk. Each without the other goes stale. Each against the other goes cruel. The work is choreography, not conquest. If you are tempted to call weakness what is simply different, ask whether you fear what you cannot manage. If you are tempted to call strength what is only volume, ask whether you hide incompetence under noise. Eros matures where a man refuses the twin addictions of performance and passivity. He stops auditioning for approval and stops sulking when denied it. He turns promises into schedule. He ties tenderness to truth so that warmth does not buy what honesty cannot afford. He risks the definitive no when manipulation arrives disguised as love. He risks the definitive yes when duty calls disguised as inconvenience. Nietzsche's provocation becomes constructive here. If your culture has taught you to flatter softness and despise rigor, invert the habit. Bring rigor that makes room for delight, and delight that refuses to become anesthesia. The woman across from you is not weather and not idle. She is a person. Meet her as one. What remains after the sentence? A challenge that cuts both ways. If the phrase tempts you to sneer, you fail it. If it only offends you into performance, you also fail it. Use it to extract steel from yourself. Abandon the habit of blaming women for a culture you have not yet outgrown. Abandon the habit of absolving yourself with pity. Stand a man among persons. Build a frame that can welcome, resist, protect, and rejoice without asking permission from weather. Your trials will be concrete. You will be misread by people who need you pliable. You will be punished by rooms that worship sameness. You will be lonely for a time while you exit the circuits that fed you attention for being predictable. Let those costs train you rather than turn you sour. Return to the few sentences you chose when you were clear and repeat them as orders to yourself, not as slogans to impress anyone. Correct your errors in the currency the wound requires. Refuse drama. Keep working. Strength without bitterness looks like this. You set boundaries early and enforce them first on yourself. You tell the truth before nerves prefer it. You prefer clean losses to dirty wins. You do not humiliate. You do not beg. You admire openly even when admiration is unfashionable. Standards without hate look like this. You rank goods for your own house and decline to draft strangers into your law. You invite those you love to enjoy its shade. You accept departures without turning them into enemies. Nietzsche's line has served its purpose when it drives you to stop sanctifying smallness and stop confusing cruelty with courage. It has done its work when you can take a woman's strength as a gift without reading it as threat, and take a woman's tenderness as a gift without reading it as license. It has done its work when your life becomes interesting to reality rather than to the crowd. Then the shot can be shelved and the building can continue. If this struck the nerve you have been dulling, write in the comments below. Like this video and share it with one brother who keeps you honest. Subscribe because you do not need a louder sentence. You need a standard you are willing to live and a life sturdy enough to bear it.